Hey everybody, this is your girl Tiffany coming to you with another video. This video is just going to be about my recent MAC information. So for those of you who follow me on Instagram or on my Facebook, mainly Instagram, already know this news. But I'm going to start off, I'm going to tell you about my makeup application interview. So I go into MAC and I had to have another interview. I had to have a group interview with a different manager at a different location. And my eyebrows like this? Goodness. So I had to go have another interview with another manager, a group interview. And so they called me, like, for those of you who know, you watched my first MAC interview, that was probably 2 months ago. So they finally called me for the group interview. And I went in for the group interview and I had a really, really bad experience because some of the girls there, they were just, and I'm not going to speak bad on anyone, but they were just too much, let me say. And like a lot of okay, let's just say I hope that I never have to do another group interview for any company, regardless whether it's MAC or anyone, because that was just a bad experience. But it must have went better than I thought it did, because when I left out of there, I was so discouraged and I was just like, I don't know, I might not get a call back. And not because the girls were like a lot of competition, because a lot of them, they were just like, makeup, girls who just, like to wear makeup and not really know how to do it. So I wasn't really, and not saying that, they aren't competition, but, it was only a few of the girls that already had, makeup, experience and stuff like that, whatever, blah blah blah. So but like I said, my discouragement was not because of the competition. It was more of just how the whole situation went. It didn't sound very promising, and just I'm just kind of like, I don't know. So anyway, I left out of there. I was kind of discouraged. I kind of just put it out of my mind. I'm like, you know what, whatever. I just started focusing on any other thing. So they told us that we would hear back from them in a week. If we were going to continue on to the second interview process. And that was a Monday. So that following Wednesday, like Monday, Tuesday, then that Wednesday, one of the managers called me back. Her name was Toya, very, very gorgeous girl. The assistant manager, she called me back and told me that they wanted me to come in to do the makeup application interview. So I'm like, okay. So it must have went better than I thought. All right. So I'm like, all right, I can do that. So she did tell me that now, one thing that I did mess up, I'll be honest and I'll tell you guys, I wore all black, but I had like red accessories. For those of you who saw my Instagram picture that I posted what I wore, I didn't know that we couldn't even wear the accessories. So I did wear all black, but I did have like a red necklace and red earrings. So she's like, next time, just make sure that your jewelry is either gold, silver, or black. So I'm like, okay, I got that, but so she's like, okay, and she's like, we see that you can definitely rock a red lip. So she said, this time we want to see something different with your makeup. So I'm like, okay, so that means beat to the guys, right? So I'm like, okay, I can do that. So she's like, and also we want to see you just be more enthusiastic about the product. Just be more enthusiastic when you talk about the product. We see that you know about the product. We want you to be more enthusiastic when you talk. So I'm like, okay, I can do that too, but I think that was just like me being nervous and just being, and then I was negative towards the whole group interview process. Like, so I think that kind of made me just, so, but I did do good in the interview myself. I just think the whole situation went bad. So anyway, so then they set that up. That was a Wednesday. So then they set that up for the following Monday. So that Monday I had to bring my model, and I brought my girl, and I'll try to insert a picture of her somewhere in here. I brought a friend of mine. She came with me. Hey boo. She came straight from work. I love her. She left work early to come do this for me. And I've done her makeup before, and she looks like me, so we look alike. And So I'm like, okay, I got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I can be her face. I'm good. You know, only thing I was nervous about was about, I didn't know, like, I knew I could do the makeup. I was more worried about, I didn't know their sanitation process. You know, would they mark you down for? Will they tell us what they look for or what? So anyway, and I'm doing this video because every time I looked up information about this, people always talked about what they did to get hired, but they never talk about the actual process, like detail. So this is what I'm gonna do. I mean, I know everything is different, and I live in the Detroit area, so, and a lot of the processes that I heard about were not in the Detroit area. So those who stay in Michigan and Detroit area, whatever, you know, maybe your situation will be like this, maybe it won't, maybe it was different for you, whatever. But this is how I got in. I got, let me see, I got there. It was four of us, four of the other people from the makeup interview, from the group interview, and they had 2 chairs, like 2 of the Mac chairs, like 1 chair on each side, and then like the little tables in between with the little single brushes, like 1 little set of brushes. Like, I mean, it was probably like 8 or 9 brushes in there, so we had to use the same brushes and just learn to sanitize in between or whatever, which I really didn't like. But you know, I think that we should have had our own set of brushes for each client, but you know, whatever, we made it work. So what they did was they said, okay, well, all your, you know, and for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll see what I wore, and also my face of the day that I wore, my makeup that I wore that day. And when I first walked in there, that's what they did. They had all of our models sit down. They're like, okay, go stand by your model. So I go stand by my girl. So we're standing there, and they're like, okay, now switch. What? I'm like, what? But, oh, like, okay. So I ended up doing another girl's makeup, which I was totally not prepared for. But, you know, that's what they do. Of course, it being an interview, they don't want you to bring somebody that, you know, you've practiced on them for a whole week and you know how to do their makeup, and of course they look like you, so you already know what to do to their face and blah blah blah. So I understand, so I wasn't really mad about it or anything. So once we switched, then you know, they did explain the sanitation process, like how they want you to sanitize the product. You get 25 minutes to do without, and it wasn't like a day or night look. It was whatever your client asked for. You do whatever your client asks you to do on their face. You have to execute what that client asks you to do on their face. Like, say if the client says, oh, I want a smoky eye, you have to do, I want a smoky eye with only browns and purples. You have to do exactly that, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to do exactly what the client asks you to do, and for you to sell the product. And where you very informative and showing the client how to do what you're doing to their face, instead of just throwing makeup on their face. So they did tell us in detail what they were looking for. They gave us 25 minutes to do that. And they showed us, like I said, how to sanitize the products. And I'll show you. Like, okay, like say this is, okay, so like say this is a cream concealer, MAC. I have one, but it's empty. Okay, so like the concealers. They want you to take the concealer in a tissue. Take the concealer in a tissue and wipe out, like say if it was full, and wipe that first layer of concealer off. Then they give you like a little spatula, like say this is like a little spatula, and then you scoop out the concealer, and they give you a little metal like plate or whatever, and you put it on that plate, and then you go back into that product from there. You don't double dip back into this, which if you do makeup, you should know that anyway. So that's number 1. Then how they sanitize the lipsticks, they told us and that's with any cream or whatever. And then like lipsticks, they have like this special sanitizing spray that they use. So you take the lipstick and you spray it, and then you take the tissue and you wipe it off. And then you can use it directly on their lips, or you can take a brush and use it like that. And then you wipe it again, spray it, and then wipe it again. So that's how you do the lipsticks. And they are looking for that. They will count you down on that. And then same thing with the pencils. You take like a pencil, let me see. So you take like this eyeliner pencil and you shave off that first layer. Take the sanitizing spray, you spray it, and then shave off that second layer. then I think it's, shave it, spray it, and then wipe it. That's what it is. Not shave it again. It's shave it, spray it, and wipe it. So then you use it on the client. So that's what they look for, and I made sure that I did all of that, so that was pretty good. And then the other stuff is like pretty much like common sense stuff that you should do anyway if you do makeup. So it was just like, I just wanted to know, it may be something that I do that they don't do, or something that I do, and or you know, vice versa. So I was just really nervous about that. But once they explained all of that, I'm like, let's do it, you know. So I talked to my client. She told me what she wanted to do with her face. I did her makeup. I did the 25 minutes. I didn't really beat her face, but she had enough makeup on to where, you know, someone who doesn't wear as much makeup as I do, you know, they would be pleased with it. I was able to highlight under her eye. I was able to do her eyebrows. I was able to do her eyes, her face, everything. So, and then at the end of everything, she actually wanted to buy 3 things: an eyeshadow, a lipstick, and I put Up the Amp on her lips. She wanted to buy that and the Studio Fix foundation. And it was her first time trying liquid foundation, so she wanted to buy those 3 things. And you know, so that went good. You know, I'm not going to make it prolong. Okay, so that part went good. The Toya, the assistant manager who called me for my interview, is the lady who critiqued me. And at the end of it, she said I did really good. She said that she saw that I knew a lot about the product. She said I definitely can do makeup. And she said she saw that I was explaining everything. I did really good. And she's like, did you ever work for MAC before? And I'm like, no. And she's like, oh, that's really good, because you knew a lot about the product. And she's like, you did really, you know, you really do your research and blah, 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 whatever. So I'm like, okay, good, you know. So then, you know, everything, at the end of everything, you know, we had to clean up our stations, and then that was it. So they were like, okay, well, you'll hear back in a week. I'm like, okay. So a week went by, and then today made another week. So I'm like, okay. So then I was going through some other stuff as far as like my other job and like, you know, whatever else, just going through life stuff or whatever. So I'm like trying to focus on that and not really think about MAC or whatever. And then I thought about it, because I'm like, okay, well, they told us that they would call us whether we got the job or not to let us know yay or nay. I hadn't heard anything. I'm like, oh, you know. So then yesterday, you know, my boyfriend, he's like, babe, why don't you just call and see? He's like, you know, maybe, you know, they you know, just haven't got around. He's like, maybe you should just call and check on the status. I'm like, okay. So yesterday I called and both managers were out. I'm like, okay, so I'll call today. But then today I never got around to calling. So then around 4:30 today, Cedric, the manager, called me. And I wasn't going to answer the phone because it's like from Ohio number or something. So I'm like, Ohio? The hell? But I answered it because my boyfriend, he just got hired at Chrysler. So they've been calling from Ohio number. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's just them calling for him. So I answered the phone. I'm like, hello. And he's like, hi, may I speak to Tiffany? And I'm like, hi, this is Tiffany. And he's like, hi, this is Cedric from MAC at Oakland Mall. And he's like, I was calling to see, do you have a minute? And I'm like, of course I have a minute for you. So he's like, okay, so he's like, we finally got some results for you. He's like, but I'm gonna give you some information before I tell you the results. I'm like, okay. So he's like, you know, your makeup application was really good. He said, you know how to follow directions as far as sanitation. He's like, you do know a lot about the products. He said, but, so I'm like, shit, what's the but? He's like, but, we want to see. He's like, you definitely can do some makeup because your face was beat when you came in. He's like, that's really good. He's like, so, but we want to see your personality. He's like, we want to see more of you come through. He's like, but looking at the fact that it is an interview process and everybody is nervous, and during the interview process, we think that that is something that we can overlook and that we will definitely see you work on as you get into the you know, once we get into the industry. He's like, so I think that was just because you were very nervous. It's something that you really want. And he's like, so I think once you get comfortable into the industry, then we'll definitely see more of your personality shine through. He's like, so the fact that you already know how to do makeup, we can teach you more. And the fact that you know about the product, that's definitely a plus for us. And your personality, we're definitely going to see it the more comfortable you get. So I'm like, okay. He's like, so looking at that, I would like to offer you a position as a MAC Cosmetics freelance makeup artist. So I'm like, what? So I'm like, started screaming. I'm like, not screaming, but you know, because I didn't want to be all like ghetto. But I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, thank you so much. Thank you. And I was like, yeah, I definitely was nervous. I'm like, I'm way more, you know, open than than that. And I was just so nervous. It's something that I really want so bad. I was just, you know, nervous. You know, it's an interview. Everybody's nervous in an interview. So, you know, give me a break. And they definitely did. So, he's like, okay, good. He's like, I see you're excited. And I was like, I can't wait to meet with you. So he's like, okay, so Monday, are you free to come in at 11 o'clock to do your paperwork? And I'm like, definitely, duh, I could come today, you know, so, but yeah, so Monday I go to fill out my paperwork, and then I'll know more detail about everything, I'm assuming. So, but I just had to come and do this video and let you guys know what's going on, because a few people have inboxed me and emailed me, you know, what's going on. So now that I know more, I can let you guys know more. So I am officially a MAC Cosmetics freelance makeup artist. Thanks for watching, you guys. Also, for those of you who want to know what I have on my face right now, I have on Black Opal's Cream Stick Foundations. I have two of them. Let me fix the camera. I have two of them. The one color, I just have this in my T-zone here. It's called Sway Mocha, because it's like a lighter, more reddish tone one. And then the other one, which I put around here, like around the other areas, the darker areas of my face, because I didn't want my entire, because this one, when I put it all over my face, it leaves my face like that reddish brick looking color, and I hate that. So I just put that in my lighter areas, my T-zone area. And then I put this color called Black Walnut around the remaining areas of my face. And I use a sponge to blend it in. God, my camera just won't sit still. So then, so then I use a sponge to blend it into my face. And then I set it with Ruby Kisses Translucent Loose Powder. I'm sorry, you guys. This just won't stop moving. Anyway, so yeah, so then I set it with the Ruby Kisses HD Setting Powder, and this is the translucent one. I set it with that, and then on top of that, I use the Midnight Ebony Translucent Face Powder, just so my face wouldn't have a chalky look because of the translucent powder. And then on my cheeks, I have, on my cheeks, I have Maybelline's Dream Bouncy Blush. This is the only one of these that I have, and it's actually my first time using it because I didn't like how it felt. But I found that with using the e.l.f. stippling brush, the small stippling brush, that I like how it looks, and it looks like kind of a wine shimmer. I like it. I really like it. What I use to contour is actually something different than what I've been using. It's the Ruby Kisses 3D Face Creator in level 16. And I use this side here to contour. And then on my lips, I have NYX Matte Lipstick in Mason. And it looks like this. I didn't like this color over the summer because I thought it was so dark. But this is my first time wearing it since the winter came in. And it's not as dark as I thought it was. It's actually like the perfect, like complete nude for my skin tone. So I'm really loving this today. And then on my eyes, I used my BH. Did I use? No. I used my Creative Me palette. And I used this blue here on my outer corner. And on the rest of my lid, I used my Ebony bronzer. So those are the only things that I have on my eyes. And then I used the Milani. I should have had all this laying out, but I didn't. I used the Milani Liquify eyeliner in blue on my waterline. And then I have the Avon Super Extend Mascara on. And that's it. So, thanks for watching, you guys. Bye.